Alright, so I'm gonna try and use this channel a little more if I can, because I don't. But today I'm going to give you a basic tutorial, or I guess I could say preview, of how I draw my ponies. So to cover the first portion of this, when people say ponies are circles, they're serious. At least for how I draw them and how most other people draw them. So first things first is, to start out my sketch, is I will draw a circle and another circle. Usually, just kind of mess with the spacing a little bit, since the pony's body is very compact and short, as well as, yeah, short and whatnot. So first I'll get my two circles. Those represent the torso, and right now I'm just going to be drawing you just a basic side profile just to kind of give you an idea. So now we need to draw, or actually let me back up a little bit. What I'm going to be doing right now is called gesture sketching, which is just getting the basic form, and it will act as a guide as I start adding the finer detail. And that's really as far as I'm going to take it. It's just a base sketch with the gesture sketching, the gesture drawing. So there are a few ways that you can get the body going here. First thing to remember is, if you're going to be drawing a mare, that the rump comes up higher than the body. I gotta get myself in line here. So just remember to do that. The rump, or the butt, or whatever you want to call it, always comes up higher. You can just draw this. Just draw a basic circle here. Get yourself going here. Get yourself going here a little bit. And then just to kind of help me get the hips and everything going, I draw an ellipse over here just to kind of give me something to work off of, and then I draw a longer one over here just to represent the back legs. And then I draw a nice bigger long one here for the front legs, if I can get my drawing hand to cooperate. Yeah. So we'll see how well this turns out. And I can already tell you right now I don't like it, but this is just for basic covering of how I do things here. Okay, so then now we can go in and just start adding in a few of the details. Don't forget about the hawk, I believe it is called here, at the tail end of the leg. I'm just going to be drawing some very rough things here. So now when it comes down to just style preference, how do you want it to look? The transition from the lower portion of the leg here up to the thigh, as I could call it, or the flank, you can make this nice and sharp right here, as well as when it come down here, you can just have this as one curve as it comes down like this, or you can curve and then come back. So we'll get into that more as I get up farther along here. So now we're going to draw the front leg. If I could get my drawing hand to cooperate. Now once again, when it comes to style preference, there are a few things that you can add per se, like the shoulder, just to kind of add, say, like, to show like muscle definition. Excuse me, that's a hiccup. Blah blah blah. So then I'm gonna just add a second layer here just so I can come back with some finer details. I'm gonna come back with my whatchamacallit, just my airbrush tool, because it's a little bit more defining tool. So like I said before, like how I draw them is I like to kind of have the rump kind of come out. Remember to have it bump up, come around, and then come back a little bit before we hit the hawk here at the back of the leg. going to draw that. And the down turn on the leg. Now, one thing to remember, usually if you're going to kind of aim for a show style appearance, is the legs curve towards the back end of the body when they're standing and will curve frontwards when the leg is lifted, or say if it's a Pegasus and they're flying and you just have their legs drooping. So let's see here. I like to kind of add the fetlocks too. You know, kind of give the hoof down here a little bit of a curve. Excuse me. Excuse me. Kind of come in now and just add a little bit of finer detail. So yeah, I like to add the fetlocks down here. Remember to make the hock here present. Do that with the remember to make the butt, the rump, bump up as you do. And then now we will move on to the front leg. Again, I like to draw the fetlock on the hooves a little bit, not all the time, but every now and then. Also to remember is, for a more show style appearance, the legs are thin at the top and thicker at the bottom. I've seen it a lot of times where people just kind of draw the legs very, very uniform. You know, again, it's all down to style preference, but this is, for a show style appearance, the legs are thinner at the top and thicker at the bottom. Just to kind of add, you know, that definition. Me, I like to add, my computer will cooperate. I like to add the shoulder, just for some muscle definition. We're going to draw the underbelly here. And then, depending on what you want to do here as well, even a side profile you can make very elegant in appearance. I'm just going to draw the neck real quick. I'm just going to draw something here just to kind of give the muscle definition, or the chest butt, as people like to call it. Alright, let's get the top of the neck going there. I just accidentally tapped the wrong button on my mouse. So now, as I was saying, even a stationary position like this, side view, you can make very elegant. Once you have your basic form drawn, you can start adding other stuff. So let's see, let's make this a little bit elegant, a little more elegant. I'm going to draw this back leg, this rear leg that is farthest from us, a little bit more pronounced, sticking out a little bit. You know, just kind of like the pony is walking forward. You can, there's a couple different ways. I'm kind of struggling this morning, so I apologize. I have to go to work here soon anyway, so I'm kind of rushing this out. You can draw this with the leg lifted. You know, it's always best to probably just to sketch it out first, but like I said, I'm just trying to bust this out pretty quick and whatnot. So that's pretty terrible, so I'm going to just stick to what I said I was doing and just do a side profile. But okay, let's stick with that. Remember, if you ever so feel like it, you can add the dock, which is the portion of the beginning of the tail which is viewed from the underside of the tail. people like to confuse, people for some reason don't like to draw it just because it's connotated with a sexual thing, which I could care less about. I'm going to create another layer here just so I can more comfortably get the head going. Does it sound like that? Sounds like somebody's just kind of going crazy outside right now. Just so I can get the head more positioned to how I want it. That's usually why I put it on a second layer. I'm really not liking this right now, but you know what? This gives you an idea of how I draw. This one I probably would have scrapped this by now and started over if this was any other drawing. Draw your lines here to help with the head. I'm going to do a 3/4 view head just so that you know we can get something kind of going here. Now the muzzle, I like to draw the muzzle sort of rounded. If it's a mare, I like to go rounded. If it's a stallion, I like to go a little more squared. Come in with it and draw the smile, draw the underside of the chin, do the cheek bump. It's a very common thing to draw. Come over the top of the head for the head shape. See, my anatomy is way off right now on this shoulder. It's way too high. It should be just a touch a little lower, but whatever. Again, I'm just doing this to give you an idea of how I draw them. So now I'll get the ear going. I'm just going to draw a low curve here and a high curve up here, and then I connect them. I already don't like it, like I said. I'm trying to bust this out very fast, so I'm not giving as much attention to detail as I usually would. So you know, you can take things a little further, give things a little more detail, draw the other ear. You know, give yourself a basis for the line, for the eyes. You know, where are they going to line up? Again, this is just very basic. I don't like this at all. This is very off par for how I usually draw them, but like I said, I'm going to keep saying it. This is just a basic showing of how I do it, how I sketch them. So I'm just going to do a basic tail here. Yeah, so you get the idea. Blah, blah, blah. This is how that would be done. So, yeah. This is how I draw my ponies, if anyone was wondering. So, you know, again, you know, Pegasus or unicorn horn would probably end up about here. Horn would end up about there. Wings, for me, would probably be about here. I'm drawing these way off of, I'm just not liking this right now. I like to kind of sometimes draw my wings kind of big, more representation of how they are when they're open. So, you know, this is a closed wing. An open wing would be something more, oops, like this. I'm just gonna, you know, get the basic shape going. The outer edge guide here for the feathers. I like to draw the little, I guess you could say a thumb, but the thumb feather up here. The secondaries, so blah blah blah. So basically, that is how I draw my ponies. When someone says the ponies are circles, depending on your style choice, they are. So this concludes this drawing tutorial. Thank you very much.